Disclaimer: this accessibility review is based on my own experiences as a disabled individual and accessibility consultant. The opinions expressed in this video are solely my own and may not cover all use cases. Different individuals with different needs will find different areas of improvement that may not have been addressed in this video. Hello everyone, Accessibility Gamer here, looking to tell you about the accessibility features in stellarblade, which releases for PlayStation 5 on April 26th, later this month. The first accessibility feature I want to mention is the colorblind options, as seen here. The game changes the original color of certain elements to make them distinguishable to gamers who have difficulty seeing certain color schemes. You have the option to use Proton, which changes not just the red color scheme, but other additional color schemes to something easier for that user to see. Do Not Tinopia, which affects green, yellow, orange, red, and brown colors, as well as Tritanopia, which makes someone unable to tell the difference between blue and green, purple and red, as well as yellow and pink. It also makes colors look less bright. When it comes to motion, you have the option to turn on a dot in the center of the screen, as shown here, to help with motion sickness. I personally found the dot to be very small and couldn't see it properly or change the size, but that just might be me. I do have 20/80 vision and require things to be huge for me to see after all. Your mileage may vary. You can also turn off the blur and camera shake by changing the original values from 10 to 0, which should help gamers who find those settings unhelpful. To see a different implementation of the same feature, let's take a look at God of War Ragnarok, where you can see a much bigger dot in the center screen for much easier viewing. When it comes to subtitles, they are on by default, which is great, but the speaker name option is not on by default. However, that setting is easy enough to turn on. The subtitle size can be changed from small to medium to large. Personally, for me, even at large, it is still too small for me to see properly. You can also add a dark background for the subtitles, which is a great option as it makes them more readable. Do keep in mind that the subtitle size and subtitle background options are not in the subtitle settings where you would expect to find them, but instead are further down in the visual assistance section. Next up is the visual assistance settings. The first option is the option to change the size of the HUD. You can choose between small, medium, or large options as seen in these examples of each of the three options. For me, it is too small even at large to notice much of a difference, but for other players, it should work out just fine. The next setting, high contrast, is also in the visual assistance section. This setting allows you to give a specific color palette to various things such as the playable character, enemies, and objects in the environment, to name a few. This allows them to be easier to see for people with low vision like myself. My one caveat is the limited options for color schemes. I would have liked more options to choose from. Available for a high contrast mode to choose from. However, given that the options do not specifically list the colors, I am not sure if my explanation will be correct due to my low vision. The first option, preset 1, gives the player character a cyan color, while enemies are in red. Non-player characters are blue, and interactive objects are orange. Preset 2 gives the main character a purple color, with interactive objects like boxes a cyan color. Enemies are highlighted in yellow. Preset 3 gives the main character a green color, with interactive objects like this chair are made to be red. Enemies are highlighted in blue. The second to last section to cover is the control section. In this section, you have the ability to change different settings that affect the camera, multiple input of buttons, and QuickTime events, just to name a few. Vertical sensitivity determines how quickly the camera moves from left to right. At -5, the camera will move slowly. At the fastest value of 5, it will move quickly, so you can adjust it to meet your needs. Horizontal sensitivity determines how quickly the camera moves from top to bottom. At -5, the camera will move more slowly. At the fastest value of 5, it will move quickly, so you can also adjust it to meet your needs. Vertical aim sensitivity and horizontal aim sensitivity could function similarly to the camera sensitivity option. However, due to the lack of access to any weapons that require that functionality, I was unable to test this setting. You can also flip the camera vertically or horizontally if that option interests you. A helpful feature that I really liked was the auto rotate camera feature. This allows you to rotate the camera automatically without having to use the right thumbstick to do so. While you do lose the ability to rotate the camera whenever you want, for some gamers, having that boring task taken care of for you might be the better option. The adaptive trigger settings are related to the PS5 controller, and it comes with 3 settings. Turning it off disables all vibration and resistance. Prioritize functionality disables vibration and lowers resistance. Prioritize experience enables both vibration and resistance, so you can choose an option that suits your needs. The QTE Auto Success option is a great option as it allows you to automatically succeed at QuickTime events, which gamers who have difficulty in performing those types of rapid button presses really dislike. However, I was a bit confused with this criteria because even when I tested it during the opening cutscene, even with the setting turned off, the opening QuickTime event still succeeded. So I am unsure if the opening section did not qualify as a QuickTime event or if there are other events that this feature could apply to. Unless maybe it's just a bug. The auto lock feature is really helpful as it removes the need for you to lock onto enemies manually, something which is good to be able to do without having to press an extra button. The fishing control replacement allows you to only press the square button once instead of multiple times when hooking in a fish. Regrettably, you could not test this feature out during the demo, but it will be available once the full game releases later this month. The color contrast for the menu, in my opinion, could be improved. I did have some difficulty seeing certain menu items that were gray. The menu items that were blue, however, were far easier for me to read than the gray ones were because the blue ones had better color contrast. In addition, allowing you to pick up items automatically is a great accessibility feature because it avoids having to repeatedly press the same button over and over again. So I would recommend turning on that feature right away. The last item I want to discuss when it comes to accessibility is the design as it relates to cognitive challenges some gamers may have. There were 3 areas that stood out to me based on this demo. The first was that the show tutorial option is on by default. This can be very helpful if you happen to put the game away for a few months and forget how to play because maybe another hot new game came out. The second area that stood out to me, cognitive-wise, was the hint option. You can use this to display a code that was previously found in order to open a locked door. It should be a simple enough implementation. The problem is that the code disappears after a few seconds. I had to press the hint option several times in order to see the code again, and by the second time I was already severely annoyed. So I can see this being a problem for other gamers who may not find this as an enjoyable user experience. The last cognitive challenge that I found was related to the water platforming section. The game mentions to use the boards, but it may not occur to anyone with cognitive challenges that they need to push the boards near the ladder to jump onto the ladder and go up, as there is no direct instructions to do so. One area of improvement that I found could be the color contrast settings. Take a look here at this example from Star Wars Jedi Survivor's color contrast option. Here, you are able to change the color of various different settings in the game to a different color and see a real preview of how it could appear. When you exit out of the preview, all the options are fully realized and allow you to see things better. While it may not look as aesthetically pleasing to the eyes of people with 20/20 vision, for people like myself who are on the 20/80 visual acuity scale and need this sort of guidance, we greatly appreciate it because it allows us to really join on the fun and not struggle with getting frustrated due to not being able to see a hazard or point of interest due to it bleeding into the background as a result of our vision. Did you play the demo? What were your thoughts on the accessibility of this demo? Let me know in the comments below.